Well, hello, this is Kimberly Brock, and for over 20 years, I've been running my own businesses that have not only been profitable, but personally fulfilling to me. So now I'm on a mission to help other new business owners just like you make money doing what you love too. Now we're going to have some fun, so let's get started.
Well, hello, this is Kimberly. It's episode 278, and I am so glad, friend, that you are listening today because I know this episode is going to help you. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast for your business or you're starting now, this is just going to solidify things for you. But I'm going to pose to you 3 questions that you need to ask yourself today so you can finally know and get moving with this dream. After all, a podcast can truly help you grow your business online and make even more impact on this world. I know that many of you have local businesses or you're just like selling online a little bit here and there. But I'm telling you, a podcast could be the best decision you ever make. So today you're going to learn those 3 questions and know whether you should start a podcast or not. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you found this podcast. I have no doubt it's going to help you along your business journey, whether you're in the idea stage, starting or growing, whether you're in the middle of starting your podcast or thinking about starting it, or even just want to grow your podcast. You want to make sure that it's growing your business. Then you are in the right place. The first thing you can do if you're new is to get plugged in. So all you have to do is scroll down in the show notes. I have a free spreadsheet that shows you all of the recommended tools, app, and tech that I recommend for your business and podcast. So make sure you check that out below if you're new here. I have links directly over. There are things that I use in my business every day. So I think this is super helpful because there are so many choices online. It's kind of overwhelming. And if you are starting a business, I've got a 16-step checklist for getting your business online. And then if you're starting a podcast, I have 3 success secrets for you that I'm sharing from my experience here as a top 1% globally ranked podcaster, how I built my business with my podcast, why I think it's so amazing. Anyways, the 3 success secrets for you if you're starting a podcast for your business, make sure you get that free training down below. So all you have to do is click the link. And if you've been listening a while, thank you so much to all my loyal listeners. Y'all are wonderful and kind, and I can't thank you enough for all the words that you give me, the words of encouragement, the words of affirmation, and the thank yous. It means so much to me. If you've been listening a while and you find value in this podcast, or maybe this is just like your 3rd or 4th episode, but you really enjoy it, would you be so kind to write a review and post it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever player you're listening on? It would mean the world to me. And I can't help think that it tells these podcast players out there to show this podcast to more people like you to help them pursue their business dream and their podcast dream. So if you would take like 30 seconds, y'all, it would mean the world to me. You can hit the 5-star rating and then just write a little blurb on what this podcast has meant to you. I would appreciate it so, so much. So that's it. Okay, on to the episode. Well, hello, friends. How are you? How is everything going in your business? I'm dying to hear. I'm dying to know what is going on, how you're feeling, how your confidence levels are with your business. Like, how confident are you with everything that you're doing with your business and maybe your podcast too? Today, as you know, we're talking about whether you should start a podcast for your business. And I have 3 questions that we're going to go through today because I think it's so important before you jump into anything in your business that you think it through. So many new business owners get very excited and overzealous about the ways that they want to show up and promote their business. Now, a lot of people do that. There is the opposite problem. Some people get their business open and they're scared to do anything. But I know if you're thinking about starting a podcast, you've probably got a lot of reasons why you want to start a podcast. And maybe it's because you find value in podcasts like this one. And you're like, that would be a good way. I want to reach people that listen to podcasts. And I think it's awesome. But what I want to prevent is you just getting overexcited and like, I'm going to be impulsive and I'm going to start a podcast. Because here's the deal, y'all. Anybody can start a podcast now. There are really simple ways off of your phone that you can start a podcast. And you're free to do that. But it's just like when you start a business, right? Anybody can start a business. You can file a DBA online. You can start a business right now and say, I have a business. But is it really strategic? Are you really putting in the work now so that it's actually successful and does what you want it to do? It's like when I had painters here a while back, and y'all, I'm not good at painting, like rooms, like just painting. There is so much prep work that goes involved if you want your room to be beautiful with the paint and not be the wrong color and not go onto your molding or be uneven somehow. Like there's work. And I notice when I hired painters to come, they do so much prep work with the taping and everything. And then the painting part's actually not that much work. Right? And that's sort of similar to your business. So I think there's things in our lives where we're like, we don't want to prep. And then there's things that we do. I have friends that do painting and refinish furniture and do things like that. And they take very good care of the situation ahead of time before they actually, start painting. So I just want to make sure with a podcast that y'all are thinking this through, that you are justifying to yourself that this is actually a good idea and could lead to a bigger audience and more sales for your business, because that's why you're doing this. You're also doing this to impact lives. So, how do we do that? How do we start a podcast that actually grows your business, which is your audience and your sales, and impacts people's lives? Because again, you can start any podcast as a hobby. You could start 5 podcasts right now. If you paint furniture, you can start a painting furniture podcast. Like we can do all these things, but here's the deal. Many of you are super busy. A lot of you have a full-time job. You're starting a business on the side and you're wanting to be smart about the time that you're spending on your business because you don't have all the time in the world and you don't want to take away family time or other free time or personal time, right? You're wanting to do this intelligently, but you also want to do it. If you're going to do it, you want to make sure that you're set up for success, right? So that's why I'm so proud of you for being here today and listening and actually taking this seriously. It's the same process, I believe, with a business. Before you started your business, you had passions, you have God given gifts, but let's make sure we do things right so you're actually set up for success. So today is step 1 for you. If you're here today, this is it. I think you're going to know by the end of this. I do have a free training that you can get. There's a link below. It's my 3 secrets to starting a business podcast and reaching success, like actually achieving success with that and having it actually grow your business and impact people's lives. So you can get the free training after this, but I want you to go through this process right now in your brain right now with these 3 things that I'm going to talk through, because I think they are massively important in your decision for your business and for your life. Okay. So we're going to start. And let me just say this first of all, just so you'll know where I'm coming from. Starting a podcast has been the number 1 best business decision I have made. And I made it in the very beginning before I even started my business. Like I made the decision to start a podcast. And do you know when this decision actually started? For me, well, it started in 2019 at no place other than my kitchen table when I was bawling my eyes out, bawling at my kitchen table, trying to figure out what I was going to do with the rest of my life in terms of a career. My oldest daughter had been off to college for a year. I started realizing, oh my gosh, my life's changing. I'd had my online gift boutiques for 16 years. One of them I'd been running for 3 years before that locally. And I just was ready for something different. I could just feel, have you all ever been in that position where you just feel like something needs to be different in your life? Like you're not totally fulfilled. I loved the gift industry. I loved having online boutiques, but just something flipped in my brain. And I was like, I need something different. You know how that is sometimes? Like when you need a new bedspread or your room redecorated, you're like, I need a refresh in here. Like I need some new artwork. And it doesn't even have to be that drastic, but it's just something like a new haircut. You're like, I need a new haircut. I need something to make me just feel refreshed, revived, more purposeful, putting my best foot forward. And I wanted something more impactful. I knew I had more to give. I had thought about maybe going back to technology sales, which I love. I loved working at Dell Computers. It was so much fun, but I have been out of the industry of technology sales for a long time, y'all, like 23 years. So that's like putting me back in the old ages. I don't even know. Right. So I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I kept thinking through all the stuff. And if you've taken my best business idea workshop, I talked about this. If you're trying to figure out your best business idea, but I went through a whole process. And then I started thinking, I think public speaking might be fun. Maybe I could I just kept thinking I want to motivate people. I want to inspire people. I want to help get them moving. So I was looking at public speaking, and then I went and sat on my couch with an iPad, and an ad popped up and it said, "Kickstart your public speaking career with a podcast." And I flipped out. I was like, I'm starting a podcast. This is what I'm doing. My kids were in the kitchen. I ran in there and told them, and they literally just stared at me blankly, like complete blank. You could hear the crickets in the background. It was just nothing. And I was like, this is it. This is what I'm doing. So I did do that. And then I was like, okay, now here comes the strategy part. What am I doing? What am I selling? What am I helping them with? And I was like, well, what does everyone ask me about? And I had gone through this process. Again, that's in my best business idea workshop if you need help with that. But I went through all that, and I realized I should just help people start their businesses. That's what I get asked about all the time. And I had started mine so long ago that people often came to me for that question, like how to start a business online and all that, which I started my first one in 2003 when Amazon was known for books. It's what Amazon was known for when I started. So, anyways, I knew business. So I knew the importance of, if I'm going to do this podcast for my business, I knew all the things I needed to do. So I had an advantage over a lot of y'all who have never had a business. And I knew exactly what I needed to set up. I needed to get clear on my messaging, clear on some type of offer, which I started with one-on-one coaching, but I was even embarrassed in the beginning to talk about it. So I don't even think I don't even know. I don't want to go back to the early episodes. I don't know what I was saying and where I was directing. I do know that I was getting people on my email list. So I had a free download. Like I knew the stuff to do, but I was just a little bit shaky on like, what am I actually selling? But I did have a process for all of that. My point is, I was strategic about it. And within, I think it was about a year, I don't have the exact date, it had already moved up to the top 1%. It might be as long as 18 months into it. And I started in 2019. So I knew the process. So if you are strategic, that's my point. I had zero public speaking experience. I had zero fans, zero sales, zero Instagram followers, zero Facebook group members, zero everything. And my point is, this can happen for you if you do this strategically and you do it right. So today, we're going to go through these three things. I think they're the most important to think about. Do not pass go until you say yes to all these three things. And then after this, again, the link down below to my free workshop, The Success Secrets for a Business Podcast, so that you can actually grow your business and impact lives while you're doing it. And so we're going to go through these right now. Okay, you ready? Okay, you might need to take notes. Ready? Okay, number one, do you need an audience? Do you need an audience? And some of you may be laughing at me asking that, like, of course I need an audience. Like, what are you saying? I'm going to tell you right now, from working with business owners, some people are very fortunate that they are getting referrals, and it's usually a service-based business or some type of consultant. They are getting so many referrals, they're already booked, and they're booked all the time, and they will be booked for years. And I've seen it with my own eyes. It's a real phenomenon. There's no way that they would have time to go build an audience, nor would I recommend them to go build an audience with a podcast when they are fully booked right now and don't have time. They're still trying to figure out who they could hire to help them. They're trying to figure out ways to like make it where they don't have to do everything so they can have more time. But they should not have a podcast until they have all that worked out, and then they can build an online audience. So you have to ask yourself today, do I need an audience that I attract online? And if you do, then I want you to just kind of, let's go down a little bit deeper into this. Do you like maybe social media? Is that your gig? Are you really good at it with reels and you know how to beat the algorithm? You know how to attract an audience? Social media could be a viable solution for you. Okay. And by the way, I'm going to go through these just real quick on this number one, different ways you can get an audience. I talk about it more in episode 276. So that's another thing you can go to after this. But do you need an audience, and is social media an option for you? I personally am not good at social media and don't love it. So I've never felt like my heart go, oh my gosh, yes, I want to be on social media. That's how I'm going to grow my audience. I mean, I was not jumping for joy for that. Okay. I kind of reluctantly am on social media. I'm going to be very honest. I do stuff, I post it. People seem to think I'm on it all the time. I'm not. I'll just create a quick clip or something and I'll post it. But I don't have a big audience on social media. It doesn't mean that much to me. It really doesn't because it's not the way that I personally am good at getting clients. It's just not my way. But if it is for you, then maybe social media is the route for you. If you need an online audience and you love social media, another option you could do blogging, which blogging has made a little bit of a comeback, but it's for someone who's really good at writing and you think your potential clients love to read. And if that is your niche, then great. Vlogging could be a great option for you. Another is to dive right into ads, which I would like social ads, paying money for that. I would not right now at all because you don't have, if you're new to business, you probably don't have your messaging down. You probably don't know a lot of stuff that makes ads successful. And you may not have the budget or the time to learn how to master Facebook ads. It is a huge undertaking. I've taken a very expensive course on it. I worked on it for a while. I tested it. I was not great at it. I was not great at it. I think I would have to outsource that to someone else. But I'm like, you know what? I'm getting business for my podcast. And at this minute, I've just put Facebook ads on hold. It's on hold for me. I think it would be very hard for someone who has no experience starting a business and they're just starting and they're like, I'm going straight into ads. I think it'd be hard. You'd have to get a really good mentor or really good program to help you. And I've seen that done. I have seen it done. It's still hard because a lot of times as a new business owner does not have the whole back end of their business set up with people they've hired, how their flow goes from the ads to leads to sales. And again, I've seen it done, but it's a lot. And a lot of you have full-time jobs and you're very busy. And I'm telling you, it's hard. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know anyone that says Facebook ads is easy. I don't know anyone that says that. Okay. And the other choice that you have, so you have social media, blogging, Facebook ads, and all that. You can do YouTube. And I think YouTube is fantastic. I think we do have to integrate it into our businesses. I have started a YouTube channel myself. I'm not great at YouTube, but I'm starting and I'm integrating things from this podcast. And I feel like it's time. I've been in my business for, 5 years. I started YouTube, gosh, it was last year sometime in 2024. And it's all good. Like I'm learning that it's going to take a while, but y'all, podcasting has been the ticket. It has been the ticket. It fits into my life. I can be in my pajamas. I can record anytime. It builds authority. It builds true connection. I mean, think about it right now. When you listen to podcasts, you've got somebody in your ear for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour for some podcasts, 3 hours for like the Joe Rogan podcast. Like, when in the world can I capture someone's attention like that? Only with a podcast. Y'all, I could go on and on and on about why I think podcasting is so great. But if you are super busy, especially if you have a full-time job, podcasting is amazing. It creates connection, as I said, and it helps you make connections with people maybe that you want to interview and things like that. Okay, I won't go into the depths of that, but my point is, do you need an audience? And then you have options for ways to build your audience online if you want an online audience. Okay, so I do need to clarify it's an online audience. You can do things locally that's a local audience like public speaking and all that. But number one, do you need an online audience? Okay, and have you thought about all your options? Have you thought about your options? Those are the options. That's the quick overview of the options. Okay. Number two, how much time do you have? Do you have a lot of time to learn a massively complicated skill like Facebook ads, really getting good on YouTube? Maybe blogging could be good. You just need to learn SEO, but what do you have time for? And I just want to tell you now how much time I spend on a podcast per week. Y'all, I don't spend any more than 90 minutes. And this is with me editing the episodes. I have recently learned how to edit my own episode, and I'm only doing this because I have my Binge-Worthy Podcast Bootcamp that teaches new business owners how to start their podcast. And I give them the option of here's my editor you can use, and you can have somebody edit it for you, which I think is the smartest thing to do in the beginning, or you can do it yourself. It will take time to learn on top of learning how to podcast. So it's not my first choice for y'all. But once you've had it edited a while, I think you can switch over if you want to save money to do it yourself. So I've been learning and now I know I've mastered a process that I'm loving, and 90 minutes with an edit. If I don't do an edit, y'all, these take me 45 minutes a week. Do y'all realize this? My podcast has been consistently ranked in the top 1% worldwide for an hour and a half a week. Let's call it an hour and a half if I'm editing. If I'm not, it's 45 minutes. You try to tell me that doing blogging, or maybe blogging you could do in 45 minutes or an hour and a half, but social media over the whole week to try to build an audience. Do y'all know how hard it is now to get followers? It's so much harder than when I started. It's crazy. And YouTube, it takes a while unless you're already famous. Y'all, if you're already famous and you have a huge network, you may be able to boost this a lot faster. I didn't. I started with zero, nothing online. I didn't really leverage my old online boutiques because no one really knew me behind the scenes. My business was a store. I wasn't the face of the business. So you have to ask yourself, how much time do I have? Most of my clients that work with me have full-time jobs, or they maybe have to take care of aging parents. They have little kids. They have community service, church, volunteering, all the stuff. They don't have time. To me, podcasting is the most time efficient, bang for your buck, return on your investment in terms of marketing. So do you have time? What do you have time for? And if you can tell me you've got, let's just make it 2 hours a week to do your marketing with a podcast. You could quickly do some little social media posts that don't take long because I don't rely on social media. Then that's great. You would be a great candidate for a podcast if you're short on time. I think if you have a ton of time where you could learn Facebook ads and learn all this stuff, then maybe that's great for you. Okay, so we said number 1, do you need an online audience? Number 2, do you have time to market, to try to grow an audience online? And number 3, do you want to impact lives through your podcast? I think this is the best reason to do it. It will grow your business if you are impacting lives. People tell me, and y'all, I'm not saying this to brag. I want to be honest with you about the results of this podcast, that people tell me all the time it's changed their life. And I want you to think about that for a minute with whatever topic you're thinking about. I'm not talking about changing 80 bazillion people's lives. It could be a handful of lives that you could make a difference by simply showing up each week to record a message that you know could help people. I want you to think about the personal fulfillment and the reason for being that you can get from hosting your own podcast. It gets to be your own art. That's what's really cool. It gets to be your own art. You can interview people, not interview people. I haven't interviewed that many people. Okay. I'm not great at it. I need to get better because I interrupt people and I laugh weird and there's all that kind of stuff, But you get to make it whatever you want. But the good news is if you're pairing it with a business, you now have a purpose in this and you have a focus and you're like on a mission with everybody and you're helping them. And then you're inviting them to next steps with you. And then some of those people will purchase from you. And it's a fantastic way to grow your business without banging your head against the wall with social media, trying to figure out the algorithm and trying to beat it and trying to chase customers and clients. Y'all, that is so frustrating. You could move from the chase to actually attracting people. You could attract people because of your connection, your authority, all those things that you're doing on your podcast, how you're positioning yourself, how you're positioning your products and services. If you want to make a difference for people, y'all, podcasting is amazing. I know even when I watch YouTube, and I do watch YouTube now, I've been studying other stuff personally and have been on YouTube watching how-tos and all that. I will watch some people for fun at normal speed. But a lot of times I'm speeding it up to 1.5 or 1.75, getting the information that I need and leaving. And I haven't seen them again. I don't know who they were. I don't know their names. I don't necessarily feel super connected. There are some that I subscribe to that I do kind of feel connected with. But the people that I listen to on a podcast, I'm totally connected to. I'm listening to them. I go back and listen. I go to old episodes. I can't wait for their new episodes. So I want you to think about your habits. How do you feel most connected to people, and how have people made an impact on you? Is podcasting something that you've been listening to as a consumer, and has it made a difference for you? I think that's a big question, because most of my clients who are business owners that are starting a podcast find podcasts so valuable because they listen in the car, they listen while they're walking, while they're cleaning the house. And those are all the 3 ways that I listen as well. Whenever I'm doing something annoying, like cleaning or doing wash, I put on a podcast and I can clean so much better, and I'm joyful while I'm doing it. I don't even know that I'm doing it. Like, I almost get amnesia. I don't realize that I'm cleaning, right? And when I'm on a walk, I go on, over an hour walks in the morning, and I listen to podcasts usually. Sometimes I'll listen to YouTubes. Like, do you call them YouTubes? YouTube videos? I don't know. I just sounded like an old person, I think. But sometimes I listen to YouTube videos, right? And I'm kind of watching while I'm walking. But if I have my dog, I can't watch. So I'm just listening. But think about it. Think about the value and the impact that podcasts have made on your life. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a long time, think about the value, the tips, what you've gotten from this podcast, and envision yourself as a podcaster and what impact you could make on people's lives. You may have a totally different niche, something completely different. Like, one of my clients has a podcast about cheese. Shout out to Brittany. Curd is the word. Curd is the word. Is that the cutest thing? She has a love for cheese, y'all. She has a business doing events in her local area, and she has a podcast. So shout out. I have another client, Jennifer Noble. She has a Speak Honest podcast. She does relationship coaching. Amazing. Awesome. Right? And so they have different ways of impacting the world. So think about it. Someone who's talking about cheese just makes your life better. I mean, how much better is your life when you learn about cheese? It's amazing. And then relationship coaching improves your relationships. That's life-changing for people. Okay? For me, with a business, it's life-changing. It gives them the courage and the skills they need to actually pursue this dream that they've had, and to realize it doesn't have to be that complicated, doesn't have to be that expensive. You don't have to mortgage your home or anything like that. Like, you can start simple and inexpensive. So do you want to make a difference for people? So y'all, today, ask yourself these 2 questions. Do I need an online audience? Like, do I need to go ahead and build this? How much time do I have? Do I have an hour and a half, 2 hours a week to do it? Would I rather do that than taking on learning YouTube with there's a lot that goes into it. Your thumbnails, the thumbnails that you put on the videos, knowing all the keywords, filming it, scripting it, or having your slides, editing it, uploading it, the whole 9 yards. It's amazing, but it's time consuming. Okay? Taking on ads, learning social media. Is social media fulfilling to you? If it is, maybe social media. I have younger clients that are really, really good at social media, and I love that they are successful on it. If that's you, maybe that's your way. But to think about that, you wouldn't have to be on that hamster wheel and chasing the algorithm and chasing customers and clients. You could actually be attracting people through this connection method of a podcast. Audio is fabulous. Okay. And do you want to make a difference for people? Because a podcast is a fantastic way to make a difference for people. It really is, y'all. It's awesome. Again, my opinion, best return on your time, energy, and money. You can add these other methods later. So that's the good news. But you could start with this to start really building your authority and creating connection. So if this is you today, you're listening to this, you're like, yes, I need an online audience. Yes, I have time. Yes, I want to impact lives and grow my business, right? Then make sure you go down below, get my free training. They're my 3 secrets to business podcasting success. Watch that. It's like 20 minutes. It's a great training. Watch that. And then I have my binge-worthy bootcamp that takes you through everything for getting started with your podcast, integrating it with your business so that your business grows and you can impact lives. I have an option there where you can have one-on-one coaching with me while you're doing the course and while you're working through everything. So you watch all those videos and you like, okay, I know my equipment. I know how I'm going to do this. I know the workflow. I'm doing this. Okay, I need to talk to Kimberly for an hour and let's go through it. That's what my clients do. And it works awesome. It's a great like hybrid model for you to get moving fast. Because here's the deal. I could have a group coaching program doing this for y'all, but I don't right now because what I'm finding right now is people need help right now. Like give me the trainings. Let me get on a coaching call with you. So that's what I'm doing. I'm meeting you where you're at. You're busy. You got a full-time job or whatever else it is. And I want you to know that I'm here to help you and I'm doing my best to serve you in the way that you would love to be served, that you would love to be helped. So that's it. Again, podcasting is the best business decision I ever made. I know it could be for you too. And if you want to reach out, maybe you just want coaching. Maybe you already kind of know how to start a podcast. You've already launched yours. But you're still confused on like, how do I integrate this with my business to really grow my business and create more impact? We could just do one-on-one coaching. So you got lots of options. I'd love to work with you. I'm so passionate about this. And I know that you can impact the world with your podcast. So that's it. Y'all have a great day. Until next time. Bye now.
Now, this episode may be over, but our relationship does not have to end here. Head on over to KimberlyBrock.com. And yes, you can get more valuable information for your journey. And you know what? You don't need to go through this alone. I would love to help you. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.